from Eliza. So Eliza is going to give us the opening prayer.
Shall we pray?
So, yeah.
Our Master Savior, we thank you for a wonderful time like this. We pray, O Lord Jesus, that you come and take charge, take control, O God. That this meeting shall be a success. Amen.
It's been a long time. Just want to use the opportunity to say, did I say happy? It's not a season that we should be happy about, but this is what we are here together as a fellowship once more. And we are going to fellowship together. The reason for tonight's meeting, before I hand over to Ruth is the MC for today. Before I hand over to Ruth, I just want to expose to us the reason for tonight's meeting.
Welcome.
So in this season, we came up with and this series is titled A Date with the Alumni. And in this date with the alumni, what we seek to do is with fellowship members, who are now doctors, 3 wonderful alumni with us. So the aim is to interact with them. It's a date. What to do on a regular date? We're going to interact with them, get to know who they are, get to know, how their life was in school, get to know how, life is after school. We'll get to know, what advice do they have for us? Are there any business options that are out there that are available for us? Are there any, how was their relationship life on campus? It's a date, right? We want to find out, what are the opportunities after school? What next after school? So that's what this series is about. And today is episode 1. So for episode 1, we have Dr. Ansong with us, we have Dr. Afeke with us, and we have Dr. Anita with us. All right. So that's just about it from my end. I'll hand over to Ruth to take us through the remaining part of the agenda for tonight.
Okay, so thank you very much, Wisdom. Okay, so good evening once again, everyone. This is our first date with the alumni, and I have high expectations for tonight's program. Tonight's program is going to be interactive, it's going to be inspiring, and it's going to be very realistic. These are people who have been to our school and have gone through the hardships and the good times we've been through at school already. And so we are going to find out how their journey through school has been like, and then draw some inspiration from them. So we start with the interview. Before we start, I'd like to say hello to our panelists. Okay, so first on our list, we have Dr. Anita Apau. She is a part of the 2016 year group, and she was the second female president in the history of Christian Medical Fellowship UCC. She served as a secretary and as a head of announcers. She currently works with International SOS offshore on vessel, and she has keen interest in internal medicine as well as hospital or healthcare management. And so Dr. Anita, if you are here with us, please give us a wave. Please say hello to us. Dr. Anita Apau, class of 2016. Please let's give her a round of applause. So, Dr. Anita. Okay. Our second speaker is Dr. Ansong. Dr. Ansong is a part of triplets, or he's a triplet actually. And He's also a medic. He also went to our school. He currently is into, should I say, the making and the building of applications. And so far, he's been able to build an on-demand health app as well as an app for social networking. Dr. Ansong, please say hello to us. Please just welcome in the clap. Dr. Ansong.
Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hello, Dr.
Hi, Dr.
Hi. We're happy to have you with us.
Hi, Doctor. Great to be here too.
Yeah, great to hear from you too. Okay, so we move on to our last speaker, Dr. Hormeku Afeke. Dr. Afeke is a specialist in training in cardiology, in internal medicine, at the Kolibu Teaching Hospital. He is also, as a side, he has a keen interest in photography. He was also a part of the 2016 year group. He was a part of the pioneer class of the school, and he was the MFA vice president for 2 consecutive years, and he was also the head of the head of music and drama at the time. At the time, MTC, the choir and announcers were actually one group, and he was the head at the time. Dr. Afeke is currently breaking huge boundaries in terms of creativity, in terms of invention, and he has come up with so many innovative ideas that we would love to know more about, especially in this COVID time. Dr. Afeke, you're welcome to join us. Please let's welcome him again. Dr. Afeke, please say hello to us. Dr. Afeke.
I think he's yet to join us.
Okay. Whilst we are waiting for our speakers to join us, please, I would like to entreat us all. Please, it's an interactive session. Let's all turn on our videos. Let's turn on our audios. This is out of the ordinary. This is not our regular CMF service. This is an interactive. It's a video call, and so please feel free to speak at any time. Please do not turn off your videos or your audios. So while we wait, we want to take a few of our quarantine experiences. We spent 3 months at home. I don't know about you, but it's been unprecedented for me. I didn't think we would spend even a month at home. So I want to find out, what have we been up to? How has it been with us so far? Any new skills? Any new talents discovered? How's our routine like? So Martina, please tell us about your quarantine experience. How is your routine like? What time do you wake up? How many times do you eat?
Hi everyone. Well, so far so good. My quarantine life has been fun for me, I must say. Normally I do wake up around 6 to 7. When I wake up, I try.
Wow.
Yeah, but I sleep very early. I sleep around 10 or 9. When I wake up, I try to do my quiet time or other things that I can or other things. When I'm done, my mom calls. When house chores calls, then you have to go and you have to do other things, and then maybe later on you come and continue with what you're doing. But so far, the quarantine life has been fun. I've been able to learn a lot of things. some things that I do not know how to do, like cooking. Not like generally, but some specific foods I've been able to learn how to prepare them. I'm still learning a lot about music, about the Bible, about people, and I'm also reading books too. So yeah, I'm learning a lot from this quarantine. That's what.
Thank you very much, Martina. So we've just been joined by Dr. Afeke from the crew. Dr. Afeke, please, good evening. Welcome once. Oh, welcome. Welcome you in your absence. So welcome to our program.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Sorry I joined a bit late.
Oh, don't worry. It's still our pleasure. Dr. Afeke, I want to find out, before we start our program, before we start our main interview, we want to find out how your quarantine experience has been so far. First of all, have you been in quarantine? Do you still go to work? How has it been? Has it been different? How has your life been before COVID and now that we are in COVID? How different has your life been? Your routine?
I mean, fair enough. For me, I should say that it's actually been a while since I've been in clinical work. I had the need to take some time off to put out one or two programs.
Dr. Afeke, I'm so sorry to cut you. I'm so sorry to cut you, but please, can we kindly mute our audio set? If we are not speaking, let's mute our audio. So you can leave your video cameras on, but let's please mute our audio. Thank you very much. If you're not speaking, please mute your audios. You can leave your videos on so we can see your faces, but please mute your audios. Thank you very much. Dr. Afeke, you can continue now. Sorry.
Okay. Thank you. Are we all okay? I think some videos are, some people's audios are still unmuted. Okay, I think we are okay now. Yeah. So I was saying that, I've experienced the quarantine period in, a rather more untraditional way. In the sense that, yes, many of you don't know, but in the sense that I wasn't in doing any active clinical work. Yes, I've had to take some time off clinical work to pursue one or two projects and then personal programs. Yes. So for me, the last time I actually touched the patient for me maybe would be about somewhere in January. Yes. But at the moment, so that's just been my experience. So it's just one or two projects, which I'm sure during the program would highlight. Yes. Because of that, during the quarantine period, I wasn't quite at home most of the time. I had to do a lot of running around to, sort one or two things out. I'm sure we'll delve into it as the program goes on. Yes. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Okay, so Kofi Kwachi or Drew, I would like to find out, how's your quarantine experience been? What time do you wake up? Do you eat differently? Are you on a diet?
Okay, so
are you working out now?
Yeah, it's been a very great experience. I usually wake up at 5:30 to 6 usually. Then I do what I have to do at home. That's my chores. Then I have breakfast. Then usually we have online lectures early in the morning, sometimes 9, sometimes 10. So I leave the house, and since I'm on campus, go to where I can get Wi-Fi so that I have my class. Then when I come back in the afternoon, I help my cousin who is in secondary school with his schoolwork. And I also help my little sister in primary school with her work. Then I also practice. I'm learning to play an instrument, so I practice that too.
Okay. Which instrument?
Yeah. The bass guitar. Instrument?
Okay.
The bass guitar.
Will you want to give us a freestyle after the program?
Oh, not
like after
the Okay, we may consider that. Then, yeah, so later in the day, usually in the evening, I also go for jogging. Then when I come back home, that's mostly how I have my days. And I've also been reading some books and also getting closer to God.
Wow, that's amazing.
Thank
you very much. We've been joined by Dr. Anita Apau. Dr. Anita, you're welcome.
Thank you, dear.
Dr. Anita, before we start our interview, how has your quarantine experience been? Are you even in quarantine? Are you working? Are you working overtime? Has it been stressful as a health worker?
Okay, so I had a brief period of quarantine before. I'm actually working now. Before going to work, and we had a protocol that before you go to work, you have to quarantine for 2 weeks before you're allowed to go to work to make sure that you don't have any infection to send to where I'm working. So I was quarantined for 2 weeks. I was indoors throughout. I couldn't go out. Everything was brought to the room. And it was a little bit boring, but then I used the time to do some courses online as well.
Okay.
So, but at the moment I'm at work. I'm not in quarantine now. I'm working now.
Thank you very much. We'll take our last quarantine experience. Please, who would like to share their quarantine experience? Please feel free to raise your hand. It will be our last one before we start the interview. Any volunteer?
I think Dr. Ansong's hand is up.
Okay. Dr. Ansong, good evening.
Good evening.
You're welcome to our program.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Ansong, how has your quarantine experience been?
It's been great. I've been working on improving. I play a number of musical instruments, so I've been working on improving my. I love musical instruments, so mainly musical instruments, like practicing to get better. I mean, those people follow me on WhatsApp, see that I post a lot of music stuff. Apart from that, spending time with people who matter, like family, very little clinical work at the moment, mainly focusing on my startups, and I'm sure we'll get to know more about that.
More about them.
Yeah. So mainly that.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Ansong. I want to call one last person before we start. Stacy Asamani Asante. We've been seeing your recipes and your cooking tutorials. You know, like we have a chef in the house. Stacy, how has it been? How has the quarantine been? How many dishes have you invented?
I've not invented anything. I'm just trying different things. But quarantine has been okay. It's a bit boring at home, but what can we do? Just academics and just find things to do to while away time. But it has to be productive. So.
Okay. Thank you very much, Stacey. So we start with our interview. Basically, we are going to find out about their school life, their life after school, their love life, or about specialization and about business ideas and opportunities. So we'll start with your school life. Dr. Anita, from your bio, we learned that you were CMF secretary at a time. You were the head of announcers at a time. You were class rep. You became a president. How stressful was medical school for you, basically?
Okay, so with medical school, I'll just make this brief. Medical school was stressful for me at the beginning. At the beginning, it was very stressful. The basic science aspects, I found it very difficult. But then I think with time, it got better when I got into the clinical years. It got way, way better than basic science. But in the end, by God's grace, I still through. And like you said, I've held a number of positions, like you mentioned, rightly, the class rep for my class for 6 years, first year to final year.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, at a point, I was CMF General Secretary. And then I was also in the choir. And I was also the coordinator for announcers. At a point, I had all these things. But I got to a time that I had to drop some of them because the meetings became too much. Yes, I realized that if I'm in these groups, I mean, all at the same time, I might end up not giving the groups my 100% or my all. So I had to end up dropping some of them. So I eventually left the choir, but then I still maintained announcers, and then I was still CMF secretary. And by God's grace, I was able to sail through. But then in everything, it all boils down to time management, how you're able to manage your time. You know when you have meetings, so you should plan your study so that you know that you have meetings at this time and you can study at this time, so that you don't end up wasting your time. So it all comes down to time management. And by God's grace, I was able to go through. And then when I got to Afeke, I became the CMF president, and that one I was able to hold the position by God's grace. Everything, I mean, went on from beginning to end, and I don't think there was anything significant that happened. I mean, anything bad that happened, but I go through, and it was a successful term. That's why I want to ask specific questions to ask. So that's all in a nutshell.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Anita. Dr. Afeke, we know you were also the vice president for MSA for 2 years, and you were also the head of announcers. You're also in the choir. How did you manage you were to start again? What would you change? What would you do better?
Okay. I mean, that's a fair question. Yes. I mean, so just to clarify, I mean, during our time, I mean, when we began, I mean, we were the pioneering class. So a lot of things started, I mean, on ad hoc basis. So I wasn't the head of announcers. So at the time, it was a joint music and drama group. So I was actually, yes, an executive member. So I was a music and drama group coordinator. Yes, so that included the choir, praise and worship, as well as announcers as well. I think announcers started, I think, when I was during the second year. I mean, yes. But I should say that, yes, I mean, with everything or with every responsibility comes its own measure of stress. Yes. So, yes, it gave me quite a lot. I mean, we all understand that medical school in itself has, you know, this sort of background stress it comes with. Yes. Then as you take on other responsibilities, yes. I should say that maybe my coping mechanisms, I mean, were quite, you know, different. I'm actually a person that works rather under stress. I like, you know,
the adrenaline
environment. Exactly. So, I mean, the whole point is to, I mean, adapt and then also deal with, you know, unnecessary stress. Because there are certain things that obviously if you want to add on, I mean, they come with its own extra stress, if I should put it that way. So I think for me, I happen to have a good way. I was able to manage my stress quite well. The most stressful point was when there was a point I overlapped. So I was both MSA vice president and then also music, yes, and then CMF. I mean, my whole week was full of meetings. Like Monday was MSA executive meeting. Tuesday I had choir rehearsals, and then I had to sometimes visit, you know, the praise and worship team. Wednesdays was prayer meeting. It was only Thursday evenings I had free, you know, and then Friday evening fellowship.
I'm so sorry. It looks like I always cut you in.
No, that's okay. Yes.
The meeting is going to end in about 7 minutes. That's because we are still on the 40-minute timeline. we are at the verge of subscribing onto the pro version, but then because of the network issues, it didn't really work out well. So in case it locks you off, you kindly log on to the link again, and then we are going to refresh the main.
Okay, sounds good. Yes. So I don't know, I just lost chain of thought. Yes. So where was I? I'm just trying to find my feet here. Yes.
You had that overlap. CMF
yes,
and
I
MS,
mean that was
had
the most exactly. So that was the most stressful period. During, because I had to juggle academia with. But I should say that I came with a lot of learning curves. I realized that there are a lot of unnecessary things we usually partake in. Because during those times, I had to shed a lot of load. It's like I just did the things I had to do, and my extra time was just to learn. That was just about it. So I think that's how I handled it. Things I would have done differently. I think that the overlap wasn't the best because it doesn't allow you to give your all. So if there was something I would have done differently, I would have maybe done one at a time and then combined it with academia. But all in all, I just think that you should have a very good way of dealing with the stress. For example, with academic stress, the main factor is when the academia is not good. That's where a lot of people get a lot of stress, with academia. But once you deal with that, I think the rest, usually comes in. Yes. Let me not take off.
Okay.
Yes.
What was your favorite memory of CMF from level 100 to 600? Your favorite memory, just in a few minutes, just like in 1 minute. Your favorite memory.
That's a good question. Okay, maybe I have a lot of favorite memories. I'm just trying to find out which. But one of the times I really enjoyed in CMF was like Fridays. Fridays was my best.
We all miss Fridays.
Yes, not because of fellowship only. But Friday was just a good day. It's like a lot of exams are written on Fridays. I don't know if now it's different, but
now
you write exams on Friday. Oh, I see. So once you write your exams on Friday, the night is very free. We enjoy fellowship. Yes, exactly. Then after fellowship, we did something unique. We just fellowshipped. You usually just start a conversation. By the time you realize you're in something,
it still happens.
That doesn't end it for me. By the time I get to my room, I had a very vibrant roommate, Dr. Koto. Yes, so we continue the conversation there. We have a good chat till maybe about 3 a.m. and then we sleep, But one of the most exciting times for me or fun memories was on a mission trip we went on. Yes, during one of our COBIs. I think it comes quite vivid. It's one of the most, spiritually refreshing times I've had during my CMF. Yes, I was challenged with a task I didn't know how to handle. At the time, I was the only one who spoke Ewe fluently.
Hey, and the business ground.
So we had a community which was predominantly Ewe, and I didn't have an issue doing DOM broadcast in English. So at this time we had to do DOM broadcasts in our local dialects, and fortunately, unfortunately for me, I was the only one, who could speak Ewe. So quickly I had to reform Ewe vocabs with, how to, minister in that language. That's one of the most, it was one of the best experiences I've had so far in my journey in CMF. Yes. There are many others, but let me not bore you with the rest. Moderator. Okay, she's back.
Thank you very much, Dr. Afeke. I was expecting the link to have our meeting to have elapsed by the time we'll be done with your. So back to Dr. Afeke. Dr. Afeke, we were talking about the factors that influence a person's choice to specialize in a particular field. before we got cut off.
Yeah. So so as I was saying, I mean, after housemanship, I mean, there is that decision. I mean, actually, it even starts from to specialize or not to specialize. You know, I mean, it's not everyone who go through the process of specialization, and it's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a colleague, as of now, he's starting his own private practice. You know, he's not in any active specialization pathway now, and that's what he's choosing for himself. Yes, but I mean, the only thing sometimes is we are limited by what we know and then what we see. So we go through, you know, medicine, surgery, pedics, O&G. So we think medicine is all about those specialties. Yeah. So I think some of the things one would have to consider is that, I mean, there are big blocks. You know, there's clinical work and there's non-clinical work. So you need to decide, I mean, which option to choose. I mean, and that'll be based on interest, you know, exposure, you know, that kind of thing. And also, I mean, God's will as well. Because, I mean, interest and all these things, I mean, it's just a way of God shaping and then making the situations perfect for you to make the right decisions. Yes. So we just need to open ourselves up, because even with the non-clinical bit, there are so many other options. You know, aside, everyone thinks non-clinical is only basic science, but don't forget that there is also medical law. There is also biomedical engineering. There are also other, you know, specialties, even the business of medicine. You know, some people do that as well. So it's also a very good non-clinical option. So don't close the options. Open yourself up. Know what you want. And again, I mean, one of the best advice I've gotten is that it is very okay to be confused or not to know what you want to do, either during your final year or during housemanship. Look, it is not a race. Look, some people during even medical school, it's like they know what they want. Someone will tell me, I want to be a gastroenterologist. They even want to tell me, I want to be, you know, a biliary, you know, I want to do biliary subspecial. I mean, it's fine. I mean, that's him. He's decided. But if you don't know, it's perfectly okay. So it's just time for you to discover what you're interested in. So in that regard, you need more experience, exposure, and then knowledge. So talk to others. Again, counsel, I mean, it's one of the best things in our fraternity. Talking to people who've actually done something you are interested in. Yeah. So I think those are some of the factors. Again, going forward, I mean, you should not only be limited by the big specialty. So there are times where you would not know what you want, but you know what you don't want. Okay, it's also a good milestone. Yes, it's also a very good milestone. So you finish housemanship, you know that I don't like surgical specialties, and then you eliminate it out. My personal experience, I started off and really enjoying internal medicine, but I didn't home in there because I wanted something that had procedures. I like complex things. I mean, if the people who know me. I like very complex things. So I really found internal medicine, the whole mind work, the puzzle nature of it. But when I went through housemanship, you know, I did O&G, I did a lot of cutting, I enjoyed procedures. So now I wanted something that would give me both worlds. Then finally, I wanted something that would also give me the opportunity to use gadgets, because I like gadgets. So that takes me into another interest area of mine, which is, you know, I mean, medical device research and all that, yes. But essentially, that was what I went through. So at a point, I saw to ophthalmology, because ophthalmology had a medical bit and the surgical bit. So I actually went ahead, you know, because at that point I was confused. It was either ophthalmology or cardiology. So if you notice, a lot of people noticed my photography name was cardiology. So I was at a dilemma. Then I wrote ophthalmology exams. That's the primaries. I mean, thankfully I passed. Immediately I passed that exams, I knew ophthalmology wasn't for me. You know, and again, you come to a junction, you know, in life. Sometimes there are dilemmas, but you realize that when you make the bad decision at a point in time, I mean, as a believer, I mean, as a child of God, there are certain checks. So I knew that, no, it wasn't for me. And I opted to, you know, go ahead with the cardiology pathway. So that I had to do internal medicine first. So that took me into my internal medicine specialty, which I am currently doing. So I'm a resident in Hormeku. I mean, yes, Hormeku, yes, doing internal medicine. Then I want to look at cardiology. Cardiology is very exciting. I think if you're not doing cardiology, you're making a big mistake. I'm joking.
Hey. Okay. So yes. We've also been joined by Uncle Victor and Uncle Dixon. Uncle Victor and Uncle Dixon, welcome.
Thank you.
So after the meeting, we would allow you to give us.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the session. I'm enjoying the big time crowd.
Okay.
Welcome, Uncle Victor.
Afeke, Charlie, you are all over in the news. Big up to
you. Okay. So, Dr. Anita, would like to find out,
yes,
in your opinion, is it PLAB, USMLE, or Ghana all the way?
Okay, I think it depends on you and what you want. It's not, I wouldn't say it's the same. I can't say go right club or go your staying Ghana. It depends on you and what your goals are. For some people, they want to go outside for one reason or the other. So they might take the club or the USMLE pathway. Some might want to go to Ghana. People like me, because my husband is outside, I'm planning to go join him soon. So I'm taking one of the foreign pathways, the USMLE. So it depends on you and what your goals are and what you want to do. Basically, that's it. And there's some specialties that I think is better doing outside than in Ghana, depending on what. I think that we'll talk about that in details maybe in another time, but it depends on what you want to do, basically. That's all, as an individual. But there's nothing, I can't tell you to go right club or USMLE or stay in Ghana, but it's you. What are your goals? Why do you want to stay in Ghana? Why do you want to go to the US? Why do you want to go to the UK? So you look at these things and then sit down and then plan your life and know which one you're going to take. And then, like Senior said, it's better to start writing some exams, write medical school, something like USMLE. If you start very early, it will help you a lot, because the first step is mainly basic sciences. So maybe if you write that in maybe third year, you still have some of the things in your mind fresh. Like right now, I've forgotten most of the things, but if you write it earlier, it's better. You're allowed to take the exam before you become a doctor. So taking it earlier is also a good thing to do. I mean, a better option, so that you have everything in your memory fresh, and then you can easily write the paper. But writing it later, it's not a difficult thing to do, just that you have to read a lot and try to remember a lot of the things you learned in basic sciences. That's all. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. Dr. Ansong.
Yes, please.
Are you involved in any other businesses? You said you were actually involved, you're a businessman. So how did you start your business? How do you select business partners? Is it okay to be a doctor with the medicine being your only source of income? Basically, your take on business as a doctor.
You asked 3 questions. I'll start with the first one. So the first question was, when did I start business? Also, like how do you start?
And how?
So basically, I've been doing like I've been working on business stuff with my triplet brother since we were kids. We find it very exciting. So we started with like creating a software company, and it was mainly like software as a service sort of. So we developed computer programs for people to purchase online, some good money, with that. And it didn't stop when we came to medical school. And when we're in medical school, actually in medical school, we were running a number of startups whilst we were in medical school. A number of them did very, very well. Actually, one of them was even featured on platforms like the BBC and DW and some other platforms. Let me deviate a little. That is why, in my opinion, it's very good if you're in school and you're not focused just on academics. Because when you are doing other extracurricular activities, you naturally learn how to juggle being a doctor or being a medical student with doing other things. And that's the plus of not focused just on academics. Don't get then you're in school to get the best of grades. Okay, there's no pride. Your parents have invested so much for you to be a doctor, and then waste your time doing other things, and at the end you don't get good grades. So by all means, focus on your academics to get good grades. But in my opinion, you should also master the art of juggling being a student or being a doctor with doing other things. Because when you become a doctor, actually, in my opinion, things don't change much. Because if you work as a doctor in a like 37 military hospital where I work, like sometimes you're working with like less than 30 minutes of sleep in between. Don't take my words for it. You can ask other colleagues. Like the only difference, the only appealing thing is that you're probably not writing exams for a long time. It depends on you. Okay. But apart from that, it's still stressful. So those who in medical school were able to master the art of studying and other things, they have an upper hand. And with regards to doing business as a doctor, I personally think you shouldn't focus just on businesses that are related to healthcare. Go all out. Look at other areas that you think. Because business actually is an opportunity for a need that has not been met, a need that is being fulfilled. And if you can deliver that very, very well, then you're in business. Okay, so just recently that actually most of my stuff that I did was related to healthcare, but previously most of the other things that I did was actually had no relation to healthcare. So the biggest advice to this question is, yes, by all means, learn very, very hard you're in school. Because if you're applying for the top schools or the top universities in the world, obviously they'll take your transcript. But you also realize that the top schools in the world, they've seen, no disrespect to any of you, they've seen very, very brilliant people. So usually, to be able to get an upper hand or an extra edge, they are looking for people who are doing business and who have good grades, but then are also doing other things, like they were active in sports and all those things. So to get an upper hand, to conclude, don't just let your whole life in medical school be just about studying to get good grades. Master the art of juggling that with other things, because after medical school, things will not change. You even begin to raise a family and all those things. And here is like the training grounds. I hope I answered it very well.
Yes, please. You answered that question very well. Thank you. Okay, so we are done with our interview. And so, like we said, this is an interactive session. So we would like to take your questions. If you would like to ask a question, please feel free, raise your hand, you'll be called, and you can address your question to any of the doctors on our panel, and they will address you accordingly. Please note, we all have 1 minute per question. So let's be circumspect so more people could ask as many questions as possible. Please, it's an interactive session. No one should type out their question. Please raise your hand. Cecil, you have a question, so please ask. Cecil Nketia.
Yeah, Ruth.
Cecil.
And so
please ask your question.
I think I typed my question earlier, but I will repeat it. So my question is to Dr. Afeke, and I was asking if it's quite possible or like it's advisable to consider specialization and you opening your own medical practice or a private practice, as he said, like one of his colleagues is into that kind of, is in that kind of area. So I'm asking if it's still possible to specialize and have your own medical practice. This is my question clear? I don't know if I want to know.
Yeah. So if I get you clearly, you're asking if, I mean, whether it's possible to still specialize and still run your own private practice. Okay.
Exactly.
I mean, that's quite clear. It's actually what is actually happening. A lot of specialists and consultants, or quite a number, let me put it that way, actually specialize, and it gives them an upper hand. So it makes it more fruitful for them to go into private practice. Mind you, private practice for a physician, there are certain rules that govern the process. It's not everyone who can acquire the license to start a private practice. So you need some experience. So your years of qualification, I think it has to be about 5 years before you can. Also, grades of license, like if you need certain grades of license, there are certain criteria you have to meet. Yes. So in terms of like personnel on doctors, I mean, registered doctors on site at every point in time, it's quite, it's simple, but you just need to know the technicalities. But by and large, I mean, the question you've asked, I mean, it's very possible. So a lot of people told that route. They go through medical school, finish specializing. Once they specialize, it gives them quite a superior edge. You are sought after. So with that skill set, you can then go into private practice. So I hope I've been able to answer the question. It's a big yes.
Yes, please. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Please feel free to raise your hands and ask your questions.
Yes, and just to ask you.
Okay.
Sorry, I just wanted to add a bit to what Senior left off. Senior was talking about, the business and all that. You see, I mean, after medical school, and I mean, having practiced for a while, I noticed that there's one deficiency, that, I mean, doctors lack. There's a clear difference between, financial intelligence or, education, and then, education to start a business. I mean, quite frankly, the medical fraternity, we do not have very good grounding when it comes to financial intelligence or, education. So it's one of the things that I would advise everyone. When we are in medical school, I mean, fortunately for a number of people, a lot of money runs through your account. And I mean, you don't think of doing much with it, not because, you are overspending or anything, but it's just that you don't know what to do with such funds. So it's also another perfect opportunity for you to be financially intelligent.
Yeah.
So I think it's also another session, that can be created whereby you get people who can, teach you how to run your financial aspect. We are not taught to be entrepreneurs as doctors. So essentially, all we look at is with source of income is, our skill set. So majority of doctors, their secondary income is locums, and it's quite sad in the sense that you are on leave, a period you are supposed to rest, you are doing locums, but quite a number of people. I mean, I had colleagues in medical school who started businesses. We didn't understand, but now you realize that, they were making, very good cash. I can see someone has put up a face shield. Wisdom. Yes. So I think it's something we have to look into. Yes. And with regards to starting something, it's not only about the money per se. The money is important, don't get me wrong. It's very important. But it is not your utmost goal. Your interests and then problem solving, it's a far more rewarding goal than even the goal of making money. So there are quite a number of things I'm currently involved in, and I'm sure maybe as the session goes on, I mean, we'll talk about them. Okay. So let me just allow.
The session is almost ended.
Oh, it's almost ended.
The session is almost ended. So if you could, in a few minutes, tell us a bit more about your new projects and your new strides in this inventions concerning the pandemic.
So I mean,
because the session is actually almost ended.
Okay, that's fine. So even before the whole COVID situation, I mean, we were 3 doctors who came together, and then we started, I mean, a company which is called Red Ghana. I'm sure some of you might have heard about it, but essentially in the country, as at, you know, I mean, from time immemorial, we didn't have any international certifying basic life support, advanced cardiac life support training modalities. The best we had were those that were offered by private institutions. Some of them were, you know, internationally certified. So for example, International SOS would be able to conduct their own in-house specialization or training programs. Yes, so in view of that, it was a great gap, you know, that has been. So we coordinate basic life support and advanced cardiac life support, which are all American Heart Association certified. So again, you realize that it's a skill set that a lot of doctors need, especially if you want to hit some international or even local organizations. So it's one of the things I got started early in. And the learning curve was very steep. You know, look, I got to notice that barest minimum, we do not know what it takes to run a business. I mean, we are not financially educated. So that was my starting point. So learning how to, you know, sort out your accounts, what it means to get GRA certification, registering the business, sorting out financials, operationalizing it, you know, marketing. You know, there are a lot of things that has to do with, you know, businesses. And sometimes it's also good to talk to people who are already in the field. I mean, fast forward, the COVID situation also brought a unique challenging experience. And with regards to that, like I said, and if you read the bio, another of my very, I mean, my unique areas of interest is gadgets. I mean, I like anything pertaining gadgets and equipment, and none other than, you know, in the medical field. So with regards to that, I tend to like to build things. I like to read about new equipment, new gadgets. So when the whole COVID situation started, you know, we started deliberating on what we could do. So we went through various R&D processes. I mean, with regards to, we were actually 3 or 4 of us, yes. And we brainstormed. So lo and behold, that's how come we realized that, look, we could locally manufacture face shields. At the time, face shields were in very short supply. I mean, the borders were all closed, nothing was coming in. Face masks at the time were quite abundant. So we set out to use whatever available materials. So, I mean, just fast forward, not to bore you with the details. We realized that, yes, it created very rewarding results. So, I mean, there are other things we could talk about, but maybe at another forum. But the whole point is that, you know, your interests drive a lot of things. And your interest, your talent, look, it's all supposed to solve another person's problem. And in the process, look, in the process, you get rewarded for it, either be it, you know, your conscience-wise or fulfillment-wise or monetary-wise. It's all rewards. And I just feel that doctors should do better at exploring every talent they have. When it comes to choosing a business, there are a lot of factors. You know, it's quite dangerous to go into something you do not have much knowledge in. So you can start with whatever thing you have the greatest knowledge in. For example, Dr. Jedwa mentioned that she loves sewing, she loves, you know, baking. You'd be surprised that she could do very well at starting a baking business, and she will do quite excellent at it because she understands the whole process. I mean, Senior, again, is someone who also loves, we all know Senior from medical school, Dr. Ansong. I mean, he loved computers, he loved IT. So it's not surprising that all the things he's doing now with regards to startups, it's not an accident, you know, it's in that direction. So I think we need to explore everything we have. If it's medicine is all you got, look, you are still not out of the picture. I mean, apply yourself. I mean, study hard, do what you have to do. I mean, medicine is a rewarding field on its own as well. Sorry, I've taken all the time, moderator.
No worries.
I'm sorry. So I think I'll just allow for other questions, and then we'll see where it takes us.
There's the last question. Someone wants to find out which specialties are better off done in Ghana, and which ones are better off done outside the country. For example, surgery, pediatrics, etc. Which ones are better off done in Ghana and outside Ghana?
Okay, I don't know if any of my colleagues want to start.
Dr.
Anita.
Ansong, Dr. Anita. Just one person could take it up.
Anita, you want to start first? Ladies first.
So
I think Afeke should take this one. I'll go to my boss, Afeke, so you take.
Okay, Dr. Afeke, I think it's on you.
Okay, I'll try. So so again, there is no clear-cut distinctions. You see, when it comes to specializing, okay, again, like Anita said, there are a lot of reasons why people choose to do it elsewhere. One of the things that's now coming up, okay, is the fact that people want to train well. You know, they want to be exposed to, I mean, the entirety of specialties. Okay, so the question the person asks, let me tackle it this way. In Ghana at the moment, we do very well with the broad specialties. So you notice that pediatrics, surgery, general surgery, internal medicine, obstetrics, gynecology, those are all very huge blocks. But you will notice that when you go into the subspecialty, that is where some specialties tend to lack in terms of experience and then exposure. Okay, so sometimes it's not just enough to say that can I do pedics in Ghana or should I do it outside? Which area of pediatrics, which area of medicine are you interested in? So let me give you a good example. For me, I'm interested in, you know, in cardiology. Now, in cardiology, we still have subspecialties, okay? I will not bore you with the details, but what I am interested in cardiology is electrophysiology with devices. Again, it's a field, we do not have any cardiac electrophysiologist in Ghana. So again, for me, it wouldn't make, you know, sense to do to do a subspecialty training in Ghana. Okay. So that takes me to the point that it is not always that you have to do all your specialty outside. You can break it up. Some people, you know, for the sake of, you know, I want to go out, do everything there, I want to have all my experiences there, would leave the shores of Ghana, do their basic core training there, as well as specialty training, and decide whether they want to stay or come back. Others will also break it up. You know, they would do the initial general bit here. So they'll do maybe general medicine here, and then they will go and do another program in the US, even in the UK. Yes. And then when they are done, they come back as subspecialties in those specialists in those areas. Yes. I noticed that we mentioned PLAB, USMLE, or Ghana. I mean, I just want to take the opportunity to mention that there are other options. So let's not limit ourselves. There's also Canada, there's also Australia, there is also South Africa, and they all have good programs. So, I mean, broadly speaking, the good thing is, I mean, talk to people in your area of interest, okay? Talk to people who've trained locally, talk to people who've trained internationally. I think all those will bring up and make things clearer, because some of these decisions are very personal, and you need personal exposures and experiences to decipher your unique situation. Yes. I hope I know I've digressed a bit, but I hope I've been able to answer.
Don't worry. Thank you very much. We'll take the last words of our speakers. We have 2 minutes for this session to end, but please stay with us. We'll take their last words, after which we'll take a word from Uncle Victor and Uncle Dixon. So please, when the meeting ends, please don't leave. We are working on our Zoom experience. So Dr. Anita, can you give us your last words?
So the last thing I would say is that in all you do, in every aspect of your life as a Christian, let God be the center of it all. Every decision you take based on your career, your marriage, every single decision you take, let God be the center of it. Realize that everything will begin to fall in place when God is the center of it all. I think that's all in a nutshell, in summary. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dr. Ansong, your final words.
Final words, medical school, it's about advice. Your seniors will make your life easy. Your seniors know the kind of books you should read. Some of them even know the questions from which some lecturers pick the books from.
Yeah.
So ask for advice a lot from your seniors, and if you listen to that advice, your medical school experience will be relatively easier.
Okay. Thank you very much. So we'll take Dr. Afeke's last words.
Yeah, so my last words are, the most important things that will happen to us, during medical school, especially after, is decisions and choices. And as Christians, there is no better thing than to be led, by God. One of the greatest books that have impacted my life is one by Kenneth Hagin, which is How to Be Led by the Spirit of God. I think, wow. I don't know, I would advise, you cannot just use, can't use knowledge, you can't use academia. There is no algorithm or equation that can solve it. It is just simply a matter of, is it God's will for my life or not? So I believe strongly that we should try as much as possible to know how to be led. Look,
Dr. Ansong, about school life, so which was more difficult, preclinical or clinical? Did you have any research, any highs or lows? How did you manage with them? How did you deal with them?
So personally, I think preclinicals was more difficult than clinicals. It's surprising because if you look at my transcript, I did exceptionally well in preclinicals compared to my clinicals, but I still think preclinicals was harder, mainly because I enjoyed clinical years compared to the preclinical years, and so that's why when you don't enjoy something and you're doing it, is more difficult. It's more difficult than it actually seems. But clinical years, I felt like a mini doctor. So now it felt so cool.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
With regards to failing, I not only failed in medical school. I not only wrote a resit in medical school. I was actually repeated in medical school, and
wow.
And I never in my life imagined that I'll be repeated in medical school. But it's single-handedly the best experience to ever happen to me. I accord everything that I've been able to achieve going forward from now to that single experience, because I don't know, like it just made me realize that I never anticipated in my life that I'll ever be repeated. Yeah, so it shaped my mentality in many ways. With regards to how I was able to bounce back, I think it's a mindset thing. You know, before I was repeated in medical school, I'm going to be very honest. Like at first, when I hear that someone has failed in medical school, like you have failed a module, I'm like, why this guy? They brought
You
you
don't
to
get
school
it.
and-
Yeah,
they brought
so
you to
you
school
experience
and
it.
you have failed. Why? You think you're joking here?
Yeah.
So, like, I really didn't understand why you should fail in medical school. But I mean, I went through my own personal challenges, and that is what affected me academically, and I was repeated in medical school. But at the end of the day, I moved on very quickly. So that's why I came to Anita's, I joined Anita in a class. So we actually met, and I think it's a mindset thing. I mean, it's just move on quickly.
How
So
is it a
that's
school that trains students without taking money?
Thank you very much, Dr. Ansong. Dr. Anita. Dr. Anita, before we move on, can you share with us your favorite memory with regards to CMF? Your favorite CMF memory?
My favorite, okay, what I liked about CMF the most was prayer marathon. I don't know if you still have that now. Prayer marathon.
We still have it. Yeah, every revival.
That was one of my best experience with CMF. I just loved prayer marathons, and then I also loved prayer. You still have prayer banquets as well?
Yeah, we still have it with the faculty.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So one of my two best experiences that I never forget. CMF. I don't think I'll get something like that anywhere else again, where faculty can come together with students to pray, and where we can also pray on our own for almost 24 hours. I mean, it was a very good experience for me, and I loved every bit of it. So that was my favorite experience. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Dr. Ansong, can you share with us your favorite CMF memory in a minute or two?
My favorite CMF memory, we went to a wedding of one of our tutors. And those days we let so I was part of many groups. I was part of the choir also. And they invited the choir to sing, and we went to band and song at the wedding. And it was one of our lecturers. You know, I don't know whether he's still there in the medical school.
Oh, what's his name? Maybe we'll find out.
He taught us embryology and histology. So we just went to his wedding. He invited us, the choir, to sing, and we just went to bed. Like, it was that bad. It was very, very bad. Like, I think it was my father's favorite. Like, I look back at it and like I'm always laughing. Like, it wasn't intentional.
I think I've forgiven you.
I hope so.
Okay, so thank you very much. We move on to life after school. Dr. Afeke, so what influenced your decision to work in Kolebu and what were you looking out for in selecting the hospital for your house job and for your specialty, basically?
Okay, I think that's a very good question. So, I mean, there are certain things every medical student, would have to think about, at the time of completion. Yes. There's a saying that goes that they say a house officer is the best thing that happens to a medical student.
Hey!
But it is yes, housemanship. I mean, you finish school, aren't you happy?
It's stressful. We hear all the stressful.
So
1 a.m.
So let me finish the saying. So the saying goes, it's the best thing that happens to a medical student, but it is the worst thing that happens to a doctor. Okay. The reason for that is exactly because as a medical student, I mean, hooray, you're a doctor. I mean, the DR is, in front of your name. You're a doctor. But as a medical doctor, it's like, unfortunately, you're the lowest in the food chain. You understand?
Underdog.
Yes. So, so where you do housemanship is quite important. Yes. And you notice that after medical school, everything becomes, good decision making. And the decisions you make obviously has, some points. Some are forgiving. Some are just, very subtle, very easy to make decisions. Others too, you would have to think very deeply. When it comes to choosing where you do housemanship, I mean, a lot of factors come in, okay? Now, people think of where family is, you know, how close is it to Accra, how close is it to home, you know, that kind of thing. But one of the key things that, you know, has guided a lot of people or us is that you are always advised to do your first year in a teaching facility, okay? The reason being that you need to build a lot of confidence, okay? And you can do that very well in a very well supported system, because in a teaching hospital, you still have a lot of seniors, a lot of senior colleagues. So the support system is very good. You're not left on your own. So you learn very good habits early. And yes, so I mean, that's the first thing they say, yes. Then some people also advise that, again, just for the emphasis of confidence, it is also better to do your first year of housemanship where you train. Again, because you are used to that environment, it is less anxious for you, and you can build that initial first year of confidence early. Okay, so I mean, that's just about it. Now, second year, that one, the algorithm changes a bit. Again, there's a lot of factors that go into it. The rotations you want to do, you know, how close you want to be to home. But for me, I chose my first year, that was Cape Coast Teaching Hospital, because of the two factors I mentioned. It was a teaching hospital, and that is where I trained. My second year, I wanted somewhere I could have more exposure. You know, I was left with obs and gynae and then pediatrics. I wanted to cut, you know, my hands, I have itchy hands. So I really wanted to cut.
Interesting.
So I wanted to do, so I opted to do obs and gynae in a district, because again, now having built the initial confidence, the district gives you the opportunity to do more practically. Yes. And I mean, I wasn't disappointed. I by the end of second year, I've done over 250, you know, cesarean sections. I mean,
wow.
It was an amazing experience. So, I mean, all this, as a house officer, I mean, you can imagine. So it depends. I mean, the algorithm is complex, but there are quite simple things you can consider. So things like your first year experience, and then your second year, and then all those other factors. Obviously, what a second year experience does in a district is it builds your confidence even the more, you know, again, because, you know, you are left alone to responsibility. And you don't have that house officer feeling. Where I did second year, a house officer is almost like a specialist, and your specialist is the consultant. You understand? Okay. It's just you and then the specialist. So you really get to pick up skills and a lot. So it varies from person to person. So for me, I would say that before you start housemanship, the advice is talk to people who, a lot of people. I mean, the Bible says that in the multitude of counsel, there is safety. Yeah. So, you know, talk to a lot of people who've done housemanship. You'd realize that your unique situation comes up, and then you're able to make a good decision. I mean, on top of all that, I mean, pray about it. Yes, I think I'll just leave it at that.
Thank you very much, Dr. Afeke. Dr. Anita. Dr. Anita.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. So, after school, are you still continuing in ministry? How has it been? And how do you combine work with extra curricular like ministry and stuff? How do you manage it? Yes.
So combining with work for me, it's been a little difficult looking at my circumstances. So I'm the secretary at church, okay? And because of where I work, I'm sure by now some of you have read my introduction that was posted on WhatsApp. I work on a vessel offshore, like somewhere on the sea, far from land. So I find it difficult to actually be present in the church, but I'm able to do certain things remotely as a secretary. But before COVID-19, I wasn't present in church most of the time because I had to be away at work for 4 weeks, and I go home for 4 weeks. So that's how it has been. So it's been quite difficult for me to combine with work because I'm not present there physically. Yeah, basically, that's it. Yeah. I actually leave Accra to offshore Takoradi, and I'm on the sea for like 4 weeks the whole time.
Don't you feel seasick?
So,
you know, like
at the beginning, you feel a little, you feel seasick a little because the vessel keeps moving and it keeps rolling. You feel seasick a little, but after some time, your body adjusts.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Ansong.
Hi.
Dr. Ansong.
Yes.
Did you face any pressure from family? You know, financially. How was your salary? How did you manage your money? Did you face any pressure from family, settling down? And how did you deal with it?
So on the day of graduation, one of my uncles brought her children and and he shared them to us. So that now we have graduated from medical school. So you take care of this, you take care of that, you know. And in terms of financial pressure, yes, the thing is, people in your neighborhood now know that you're a doctor.
Yeah.
And I think the general idea of Ghanaians is that doctors are paid exceptionally well.
Yeah.
So all of us would have pressure from family members and friends that you've not heard from them for a very long time, demanding a lot of things from you. And it's usually it's not even your close friends or your close family. It's those who you've not heard from in a very long time. All of a sudden, you know that you have someone who's a doctor, so they'll start taking a lot from you. So that's the kind of pressure you should be ready to face. The other pressure that you realize soon is that everyone knows that you're a doctor. In a way, it's appealing because people call you when they have medical problems, but it gets to a time that people can call you at 2 a.m. And because they know that they know someone who's a doctor. They're always calling you at the time to, like when they are not feeling too well, So those are the kind of pressure that I'm sure my other colleagues who are actually my friends also have experienced this kind of pressure.
Okay. But Dr. Ansong, so how did you manage your salary, your money? During house.
I'm a businessman, so every money that I get goes into business.
Okay.
Every other thing is pretty secondary to me. So when I get any money that I get, I know like majority, and thankfully I have a very supportive family. So I mean, yeah, they also assist financially here and there, and I also have very supportive friends, which is very, very good. You have to make friends that when you need money,
you can approach it.
Someone like I can say without embarrassment that I can tell him. Dr. Afeke is like my brother. So I can tell him Afeke, I need money, and you give it to me, So you should make friends like that where, when life is hard in the moment, you can always, you make those friends. I think I got to know Afeke through medical school, isn't it?
Okay.
So you should make those kind of friends. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Friends like Maslina and NS. Whenever I need money, they can Okay, so Dr. Afeke, the last question on life after school. Private or public hospitals, which one is better in your opinion?
Okay. So it still has, again, that's another block of decision altogether. Obviously, housemanship, you don't have an option. You would have to be in a government institution. So for the next 2 years, it's just rotating through a government institution. So the choice really comes after, after your housemanship. Yes. And so with that, so government or private, so again, I would say that it depends on what your plans are. For me, I chose to go government because if you have plans of specializing, okay? A lot of the time, institutions would have to submit your names or put your names forward to be sponsored in order to specialize. Okay. So, I mean, I'm sure when you get there, maybe we can have another session of like on the specialization pathway. But I mean, just to summarize it, once you finish housemanship, it is required of you to do MO-ship for a couple of years. And it varies from facility to facility. And again, depending on the needs of the facility, you might go maybe before or after a couple of years. Yes. So by and large, the average is 2 years. So usually by then the facility will sponsor you to go and specialize and then come back. So the reason why I say it depends on you is some people will make the decision to travel outside the country. They want to specialize outside. So in that case, their priority now becomes working in a place where they get more time to study for whatever exams they have to. And secondly, working in a place where they can get more cash to fund whatever exams they would want to write. So in that regard, it is better to be in a well-paying private hospital so that you can get good salary, get adequate time. So for example, there are some private places which run very good shifts. So you can work 4 weeks on, 4 weeks off. Other places, you know, you run very nice. So it gives you the flexibility of time. So yet again, it still comes to, there's no hard and fast rule as to which one is okay. So it depends on what your future plans are. If you want to specialize and you want to specialize in Ghana, you are better off starting early with your government institution because it's your most certain way. Because if you want to enter a training program privately, as of now the ministry will sponsor you. However, you wouldn't be on a salary, you know, package. So you'll be doing your specialization, but you wouldn't get paid for it. So I think it's just, you know, one of those. I hope I've been able to answer the question.
Thank you very much. So we move on to another subsection, the love life or relationship life during school and after school. Dr. Ansong. Dr. Ansong.
Yes, I'm listening.
Please, were you involved in a relationship when you're in school? Or was it 6-0, 6-1, 6-6? You know,
I said I was repeating
like,
so it was 7.
And was it a choice, or it so happened that you were essentially?
It was purely a choice.
Oh wow!
Or maybe one of them life happened, but I'd say it was mainly a choice. I just didn't. I thought I had too many.
Stop lying, senior. Stop lying.
So it so happened. It wasn't a choice.
and like I thought I had to know. And usually my approach with relationships is I don't want to be with someone's daughter and I'll not have time for her. So if I think I'm still like trying to, you know, grab at my time and learn how to, you know, manage my own time, then I might as well learn how to take care of myself very well before I attempt to take care of someone's daughter. Because I think relationships should be 2 ways. It's not just receiving from one person, but you should also be able to give to the other person. The moment it becomes one way, then it's really not worth it for the other party. So in medical school, anything relationship, medical school, I think my other colleagues are more experienced. So I defer my opinion. Yes, I went 7, proud 7 years. But I was
okay, yeah, proud.
Yeah.
Okay, so Dr. Anita, were you in a relationship in school, and how did you manage it? And now that you are married, how are you managing work with married life?
Okay, so let me answer the second question first. Okay, so now that I'm married, my husband is not here in Ghana, so I'm able to, so for my work, I have my shift is 4 weeks at work and then 4 weeks at home. So I go to work 4 weeks at work, and I'm on break 4 weeks at home. And so that hasn't really affected my marriage in any way because I'm alone here in Ghana anyway. Even there are plans underway to go later, but it hasn't really affected because I live alone basically, so it doesn't really affect my marriage. We talk on WhatsApp, Skype, and all those things, but it hasn't really affected my marriage. And about relationships in medical school, that's a tricky one. I'll say that partially I was involved with some people, and it's okay. And it didn't really. It had to come to an end. Yeah, I don't want to really go into detail because I don't have their permission to talk about it in detail. So let me just give you a surface. So it's ended eventually. It didn't end on a good note. Lessons were learned. Yes, and that is why I don't want to go into details because I can't talk about them when I don't have their permission. So that's all. Let's hear something else.
But what advice? Sure. Yeah. What advice would you give to us in school now that we're in school concerning relationships?
Advice how, like specifically? Whether you should go out or you shouldn't go out, or is that what you're asking?
Not necessarily. No. Basically, we are in school, and people have the option. Some people are in relationships, some people are not. But what advice? Basically, if you could go back,
I think that when it comes to relationships in medical school, it's not cast in stone like for everybody. Some people they dated in medical school and they got married in the end. Yes, exactly. Yeah. They got married in the end. Others didn't date. Others dated and didn't get married in the end. But whatever you choose to do, if you are going out, then make sure that God is the center of relationship. Try to keep yourselves pure as well, and make sure that you build your relationship on God's word. That is what matters, because those I've seen that have done that, some of them ended up getting married. But that is what matters. Just being a relationship on God and on God's word, okay, and then keeping pure as well, because medical school dating, you are exposed to a lot of things. You can easily go to the person's room. You can, you can do anything. You're not living with your parents. You're living alone. You know, there's no one watching your back and everything. So you're basically on your own. So you can easily be tempted to do things that you're not supposed to do. And then if in a relationship, try and set boundaries, okay? In medical school, you know, you're human. Anything can happen. So maybe you go like, okay, maybe when you come to my room as my boyfriend or as my fiancé or something, you don't sit on my bed. We don't sit together on the bed. You don't come to my room at this time and all that. So try and set boundaries for yourself. And I think that is what is going to help in medical school. So you don't, so you keep yourself pure as Christians who are going out on relationship. That's all I can say.
Thank you very much, Dr. Anita. Dr. Afeke. Dr. Afeke.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. So were you also in a relationship at any point in time in school? Would you say relationships have an impact on your academics? And if so, are they positive or negative?
Oh, you should allow me to answer the first question first. You know, don't mind me. Yes. So for me, I played on the same league as Dr. Ansong. I was the chief defender. And unfortunately, no goals were scored within the 6 years. Oh. So it was an outright 6-0 for me.
Okay.
Yes. But I should say that, yes. In the whole process, there were people that I did find attractive and then I liked, during the period, yes. But I think it was during medical school, some of the things that really put a lot of hold for me was when I became, like more spiritual, like when I began to know God more. You know, because coming from SHS, you know, I had a mentality of, you know, boyfriend, girlfriend. I mean, I was safe, but, you know, the option of choosing a life partner, you know, someone you would like to, you know, serve God with wasn't, you know, the motive in the beginning. So when I began the process of knowing God more, I realized that a lot of, I realized the work I had to do on myself. So for me, I think maybe that amongst others, I mean, might have influenced, yes. But thankfully for me, I had a lot of, you know, learning curves, not only with other people's successful, you know, relationships, but again, you'd always have colleagues that didn't work out, and you know, you have challenges, yes. But at the moment, I have activated my grabbing protocol, which I'll share with all the bachelors on the page. We'll have a bachelors CMF meeting. That was only for bachelors.
Oh,
share the grabbing protocol.
We also deserve to learn. I mean, you never know, we could also apply it. You know, please share with all of us.
No problem. I mean, at the appropriate time. Yes. So, I mean, for me, yes. But, I mean, one of the things afterwards was, I mean, mainly was conscious working on myself. So, I mean, I just lived. I mean, med school was just about everything else I did. I mean, serving God, academia, everything. And one of the things that really helped me, that really made me know what to work on, what to prepare for, was books. I read some of the most, look, it's, I mean, it's so amazing. You know, you think that when it comes to the subject of marriage, sometimes everyone thinks they're experts. I don't know, for some reason or two, we all assume. But when you read, I challenge you all, I mean, on this page, who are not married. I mean, I challenge you to read books on marriage, and you'll be surprised the depth of knowledge, you know. Some of the most amazing books I've read. I'm not married, but I don't know the practicality of it, but it's just amazing. Christian literature, I mean. And one of them was I Married You by Walter Trobish. I mean, it's a book I would recommend to any single person, either married or unmarried or dating. Then the other one that, you know, I really enjoyed was a book called, I mean, it's also another amazing book. I mean, the concept, the things you learn. Then there is one by Gary Chapman, which is 5 Love Languages. So, I mean, the waiting period has to be made relevant, and it's also as essential as any other process. So for me, I think that I belong to the waiting group, and whilst in the waiting group, there are things you should be doing. More importantly, you should watch and pray. Watch and pray. Don't just pray, you should watch.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, so
Thank you very much.
Those are some of the things. I mean, lastly, I mean, not to belittle this, it's also very good to talk to friends who are married. My roommate got married, I mean, after medical school. I mean, the depth of things we talk about. Look, you would never get such depth with ordinary people, you know, like, I mean, people who are married. So I think those are some of the things I'm doing now. Hopefully, it will end well. Yes.
Thank you very much. Dr. Anita, there's a question for you. Someone would like to find out if your husband is a doctor, and how did you meet your husband?
Okay. He's not a doctor. My husband is an economist, and he works outside the country, like I said. He works in the US with the World Bank. And we met. So we met. We were friends in 2012. Actually, we were friends for a very long time. And then we're talking once in a while. I think we used to talk like twice a year.
Wow.
Christmas, you go like Merry Christmas, and then my birthday go like Happy Birthday. So we're friends. I mean, just saying Happy Birthday, Merry Christmas, nothing deep. And then I think in 2017, yeah, during house job, that was when we started talking a lot. But then we were still outside the country, so we started talking a lot at that time. And then one thing led to another, and then he proposed, and then he got married. Basically,
Anita.
That's the summary of it. But nothing. Yes, so that's it. My husband is a very lovely person. He's very, very God-fearing. I mean, super God-fearing. And that was one thing that actually drew me to him, the fact that he was God-fearing. Yeah. So basically, that's it. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Okay, so we'll move on to our next set of questions on specialty and business opportunities. So, Dr. Ansong, we want to find out from you. Have you started any specialty yet? Are you looking? Are you looking towards any area, and which area exactly are you looking at?
So personally, I'm looking at anything that combines healthcare and technology. That has always been my interest, you know. So I went after medical school. I did some engineering programs here and there. But with regards to starting specialty training, I'm working towards the PLAB. So I'm writing PLAB actually, and that reminds me that I think it's advisable for all of you to, those of you who are interested in practicing outside the country. In my opinion, in my honest opinion, being in medical school, the best time to write these exams, you know. So in terms of specialty, long story short, I'm looking at something that combines healthcare and technology. Something like interventional radiology is a go-to area. I'm entertaining that thought. But when I was in medical school, I noticed that I was able to relate more with the medical specialties. I enjoyed it, and so it's most likely something the medical,
Dr. Ansong, not to cut you, but as this session will end in very few seconds, and so when it ends, the link will be reshared and we can rejoin. Thank you very much.
That's
so,
fine.
Dr. Ansong, basically you are into interventional radiology and technology.
No, I'm not into interventional radiology. I find it.
Okay, that's what you're looking at.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. When we come back, okay. So when we come back, we'll find out more about your applications and about basically your life so far after medical school in terms of your ambitions. Yeah.
I think.
Dr. Anson, you're saying something.
I think so I don't know if I answered the question very well. So yeah. I'm studying to write. I'm writing PLAB actually, and I'm yet to choose a specialty program.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we can continue. Yeah. We can continue until the session ends. So, Dr. Afeke,
yes,
what do you believe influences a person's choice to specialize in a particular field?
Okay, so I mean that's also another, big decision to make, because again it influences all further.
So we were on Dr. Afeke's last words. Dr. Afeke, could you continue with your last words?
Yeah, so I so noticed that anytime I start talking, then it cuts or something. Maybe I shouldn't talk for long. It's warning me. So I was just saying that there are some decisions we just can't apply human intuition. So I would just encourage everyone. You have to know how to hear from God. There are certain things, and I'm sure people will attest. My roommate who mind sharing. My roommate is Dr. Elliot Akoto. Him doing pediatrics. One day he told me that he prayed about it and he knew that he had to do pediatrics. You understand? And he just developed a love for it. Currently, he's a specialist pediatrician. sorry. So I'll just say that, I mean, and again, the other thing I wanted to say, it's okay if you don't know what you want to do. Okay, I mean, pray about it, seek more information about it. Like Senior said, there are a ton of resources. So, I mean, the Bible says that in the multitude of counsel, you know, there's nothing new under the sun. Whatever you want to do, someone has done a version of it. So you are just better off asking or seeking counsel on it. So I just pray that all in all, yes, we would be able to find what exactly, you know, we are supposed to do. I mean, it's just my prayer that, I mean, we all do things that are, you know, that are within God's will for our life. I mean, other than that, we'll all just be wasting our time.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Afeke. Thank you very much, Dr. Anita. Thank you very much, Dr. Ansong. It's been a pleasure having you here with us. It's been very inspiring and very realistic. These are things that we are also going to currently, and you have been able to sail through, and you're already success stories. Thank you very much. So we'll take our closing prayer from one of our freshest alumni, one of the very freshest doctors, Okay. Before that,
go on to the closing prayer, kindly hold it. Yes. We just want to thank the alumni for our guests for joining us. It's been an honor. It's been a pleasure. I mean, amidst their busy schedules, they still found time to fellowship with us for this evening after a long time of leaving school. We just want to say thank you. Thank you so much. And it's our prayer that God will continue to bless you, whatever that you do. And we pray that whatever path that you are taking, we know that the hand of the Lord is going to lead you and is going to take you to success. And we shall find favor between man and between God. Amen.
Amen.
Just a few announcements. Tomorrow we'll be having prayer salad. Prayer salad continues tomorrow. Prayer salad is a time of prayer for 2 hours. We're having it from 9 p.m. tomorrow evening to 11 p.m. And we'll also be having, I think the hostess, I can't share my screen. I was going to share the flyer. We would also be having the evangelism wing. They'll be having a session called Unreached People Group. So how to reach out to people basically is a training session on how to reach out to people, right? So yes, that will be coming up tomorrow, Saturday as well. I was just looking for, yes. So the link will be shared to the WhatsApp page. It's basically how to reach out to people, how to evangelize to people. It's going to be hosted by our own CMF Evangelism Wing at 6 p.m. So you can join in at when the time is due. And I must say that I've taken a few points and I've realized that there are certain topics that we need to delve into. There are certain topics that people are really interested in, but because of time, we weren't able to tackle them. And that's something like specialization pathway, house job options, and international exams. Should I take PLAB? Should I take USMLE? Should I consider Canada? Should I consider Australia? I mean, these are interesting things that as a medical student, we all look up to because we'll eventually complete someday. So, I mean, we have got you covered. And this is just episode 1 of Dates with Alumni. And we have other wonderful alumni who also are well-versed with knowledge in these areas. And I want to stay tuned for episode 2 with a Date with Alumni. And I'm sure episode 2 is going to come more with a specific topic. Now we have a broad idea of what the people want to have a broad idea. No, 2 is going to come more with a specific topic with regards to what we need to interact with our alumni. And this Wednesday as well, we'll be having our usual prayer meeting And then finally, next week we are starting a second series, like I announced last week, Wednesday, a second series, and it's titled Candid Conversations. Candid Conversations. We are starting Candid Conversations next week, and it's going to be sort of like a personality profile. We are going to profile notable people in Ghana, notable people in the world. I mean, brace yourself. We are going to profile notable people in the UK, notable people in the US, notable people all over the world. And I just don't want to release any name now, but we've gotten a few confirmations from these people, and I wanted to stay on to the link for any poster that comes up. And yes, but by Wednesday, I promise you, by Wednesday, you get to know of the first personality we're profiling this coming Friday. By Wednesday, we'll be releasing a poster with the personality we'll be profiling this coming Friday. So stay tuned, and God richly bless us so much for coming to tonight's fellowship meeting. Before we take the closing prayer, I would like us to all turn on our cameras for a group photo. We just want to take a group photo. Yes, it's an online meeting, but we can also take a group photo of our faces. So can we all kindly turn on our cameras, even as we take this wonderful, very, very big group photo, and it's going to be used for our flyers for our next event and for subsequent events as well. So please, 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 because of time, we would have loved the first timers to introduce themselves and tell us who invited them and how they got to know about CMF and all that. But I promise you next week we'll do that. So can we please unmute, can we please open our cameras and take a group photo?
You should have told us we were going to take a group photo so we do our makeups well, you know.
All right, NS, are you there? Is NS there? NS is the one taking the photo, so
yes,
if NS is there with us, it should. All right, can we say cheese?
Cheese.
NS, if you are done, let us know.
You don't want Jesus, you want cheese, eh? I
thought you Jesus.
Jesus.
Let's say Jesus.
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 NS, I guess you are done now, right?
Yes, please.
All right. Thank you so much for your presence. Thank you so much for your time. And we are sorry about the leaving and joining. We were working on subscribing for the pro version of Zoom, but because of the network issues, the money wasn't deducted from our account. But we are going to work on that, and next week hopefully we are going to have a very fluid meeting without any breakages, and the numbers are going to be maximum 500. So I mean, it's going to be an amazing time. So God bless you so much for see you on. We can now take the closing prayer from Uncle Victor. Uncle Victor is going to bless us with the closing prayer.
Sure. Uncle Victor, can you please give us the closing prayer? And yes. I think, Uncle Victor, when you spoke, most of the alumni were not online. And so they requested to hear from you again.
Yes. I've actually missed them so much. Afeke, I'll be glad to be the one who officiates your wedding.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. It's good to hear from you guys. Actually, though I'm not medical sharing, honestly speaking. And I'm glad for your lives. I mean, even if at this stage you are sharing such deep wisdom to be able to direct those who are in medical school now, it only gives me a glimpse of what is to come out of your lives. I'm also more of your speech. You always kept referring to God and God directing and all. And I think for me, that matters so much. I'm glad that I know you guys. And may the Lord preserve you wherever He has planted you. Senior, Charlie, I miss you. You have to make sure you connect. I wonder where you have been all these years. You really have to connect so that we can have some good chats. You've really been missed. The Lord bless you guys. Yeah. It's good to see you here online. Can we share a word of prayer then? So, Father, it's a blessing, such depth of wisdom. Thank you for these wonderful young men and women that went through 6 years of medical school, were part of CMF, served the fellowship, and you have held them strong in their faith, even alive. It has made them better people so that they can still hold on to you, Christ, and share the wisdom that they have acquired all these years with us. We pray in Jesus' name that the things shared will stay with us, as we warm our hearts to know how to apply them to our specific and individual situations. I declare all these doctors who came and the rest of their class, especially those that were in CMF, I declare of them blessed and protected. You shall not face premature death. News about you will not cause pain and sorrow. Your stories will rather give us reason to celebrate God for your sake. In the name of the Lord Jesus, your finances, your love life, every aspect of your life, see the growth and the blessings of the Father. Now to the rest of you fellowship members, may grace abound for you. Enjoy this your Friday night. And may the Lord preserve you through all that will happen from today till we meet again next week. You are blessed. You are. Amen.
Amen.
Amen.